Hey man, how's it going? How you doing? What's going on?
Not too much, man. Just doing a little bit of work. How about you?
Oh yeah, my man. Things are going great on my end. Just about to go play golf with some of the sales guys and get outside a little bit. How's work going?
And this is the moment that we usually make a total deflection. We avoid the situation at all costs just because of that awkward feeling we get. So we respond with something like, work's going pretty well, just keeping me busy. But in reality, it's not going well at all. It's not going well at all. And the problem is, we don't want to complain. We don't want to bring the vibe down of other people. We just don't want to be that person. And this is tough because it makes us feel this sort of shame or guilt for going into a certain path, and you're getting these feelings that maybe I need to change directions, maybe I need to build my skills and pursue something different. But we don't want to complain. We don't want to bring anyone down. So we start to develop this negative feeling towards this self exploration of, man, why is my gut telling me that I should be doing something different? Or maybe I should be building more skills. Ironically, this is where people connect the most. They connect to this story of going through it, the process. When we go into that feeling that I'm embarrassed to say what's actually going on, it puts us in a very dark spot, and it can actually limit us from pursuing things. And as we get older, we start to just fall into the habit because of what society expects. Let me explain more. Now, I know I am not the only person that has experienced that situation within their career. Whether it's a job that you've been in for years, or maybe you just started within the past 6 months, the more you spend time at this job and the more you keep going, you start to notice things just don't feel right. And you come to the realization that maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe I chose the wrong route. Then you start to weigh all these different things, like maybe you went to college for this job and you're paying back student loans. So that's weighing on you because you feel pressured to stay on the path because you're obligated at this point. Or maybe it's something that your parents wanted you to do and you're just fulfilling their dream, but you never once thought about, what do I actually want? Or maybe you just listened to your guidance counselor like me and they said you're good at this particular skill, so just major in that and you'll be good in that career. But not once did you consider if you even liked that career. This decision comes with a lot of different variables that you have to weigh. Now, since most of you that watch my channel are in the millennial age group like myself, it leads to the argument of millennials are just lazy. You've all heard this where millennials have this bad reputation and there's really no way to win. Now, of course, you've heard these things like millennials have no work ethic, or they just hop jobs too much and they can't stay committed. But the thing is, that happens in every age group. The reason why that has become the narrative is because we were the first generation to go through a time where the entire world changed almost overnight. We went from not having the internet to all of a sudden having global access to do whatever you want. We went from having limited technology of doing the same things years and years and years to all of a sudden the world moves at such a rapid pace. We were growing up at a time that we saw the world completely transform. So naturally, as this generation gets older, it makes sense that the prior ways of doing things are challenged. They're questioned. These questions were raised because information was so much more readily available. If you had a question, you didn't have to go spend 10 hours at the library searching for books to hopefully find the answer. All you had to do was hop online, type it in, and within seconds, you would have an answer to your question. But what's interesting about the millennial age group is that we were brought up during this time where we were taught the ideas that if you want to be successful, get your education through college. And if you don't go to college, you have to go to a trade school. Those are really your two options. We had been taught by those that were older than us because they had to grow up in a time where if you didn't go to college, if you didn't go to a trade school, it was very tough to succeed. But the issue was the internet was so new that no one could predict the advancements in technology because A, they happened so fast, and B, it's something that we had never seen before. So now as you're watching this, it's not such a strange concept that If you don't want to go to college, you can still make 7 figures a year. People are starting to realize that college might not be for them, especially if they're not going into some type of specialty field like medicine, law, or something that requires a specific discipline or specific skill set. Knowing that, it's really no wonder that our millennial age group kind of feels like we've been had. It feels like we were sold a bad product. When in reality, if things had been going the same, the internet might have not come along, it wouldn't be a bad future. The ideas still made sense. So it's no wonder that at this point, you're questioning your path. You're having to face the fact that it's your responsibility to move forward in life. The old ideas that you may have been taught might not work today. You're having to face a lot of tough emotions and potentially face failure in order to get ahead later in life. It's easy to hear people say, well, if you want to succeed in life, you have to fail. But to actually do it is much harder. Most people are afraid of failure, but it really is where the growth comes from. This was my life from basically 2017 to about March 2020 when the entire world shut down. I had been working this job in real estate and I would constantly ask myself these questions. Why am I doing this every single day if I hate it so badly? There was this old way of thinking that to be fulfilled would not lead you to a financially rewarding career. You had to pick your place on this scale and decide, do you want to be more on the fulfillment side or do you want to pursue something financially rewarding? What changed and what nobody saw coming was that this scale had changed. This old way of thinking had changed completely. Now it was more of an X and Y axis where you had fulfillment on one side and financially rewarding on the other. All of a sudden the internet presented more opportunity. You could find something that was actually fulfilling and financially rewarding, but it obviously didn't happen overnight. So many things have happened within the past 10 years that there are endless ways to become educated. There are so many ways to build skills that there really is no excuse to not finding success. If you're in this spot and you completely hate what you're doing, you've got to take it upon yourself to push through and to find a way to learn a new skill, to pursue a new avenue, because it's out there. To say you're too busy or you don't have the time is just a cop-out for accepting where you are. If it mattered that much, I promise you would make the time. I say this because this was my life from basically 2017 to about March of 2020 when the entire world shut down. I had been asking these same questions every day. Is it too late for a career change? Why am I doing this? Am I capable of doing something else because I've spent so much time dedicated to this particular field? I know what that feels like. When March 2020 rolled around, it punched me in the mouth. It forced me to get myself together and to pursue what it is that I actually want to do. I had taken this role with a company as a construction project manager where I was basically in charge of all property renovations for these investment properties. To make it simple, anytime an investor bought a property and they needed it to be completely renovated, I would take on the job of getting all the vendors organized to overhaul the project. Now, as you can expect, these were longer term projects. It wasn't something like changing out a light switch or just painting a room. Now, obviously with a lot of jobs like this, it had a percentage based on commission. So one of my main priorities was meeting a quota of hitting a certain amount of projects. As March 2020 rolled around, the world completely stopped. There was a short time frame where people completely freaked out and stopped spending all their money. There was no buying new properties. There was definitely no rehabs on properties, so I was at a standstill. Not only were investors fearful, but now business owners started to get fearful. So it became this situation where every day I would go to work, I would hear about, if you don't meet your quota, you don't have a job. What do you do when you're on a team of other real estate agents that their job is to sell properties? And your job is to fix those properties that are distressed. Luckily, I had a few projects that were ongoing, so I was able to get through a couple months here. But during this crazy time, my boss had become fearful of my role in general. Although he never told me this, I don't think he saw the longevity of my role because he was so afraid of what was going on in the current market. So he approached me one day and said, we're moving you to property management. Now, I don't know if you know any property managers, but I have so much respect for these people because this job is completely terrible. As a property manager, you're not dealing with people that are excited to talk to you. You're dealing with people that have problems going on at their home and they need it fixed now. So my boss brought me in his office and he said, hey, I need you to take some of the work orders from property management and start fulfilling them. Now, I go from having these long-term projects that are a package deal. So you're talking about full renovations on properties. Now I'm going to property management where I have these one-off situations. It can be anything from my heater isn't working, or the toilet is clogged, or I broke a window. So at first thought, I was kind of excited because there was a potential way of saving my job because of the volume. I did the math and I thought if I could take on 15 to 30 of these work orders a day, I could still hit my quota. But the problem is, my boss also told me that I couldn't charge the project management fee on any of these repairs. So after about a month of doing this and continuing to hear on a daily basis, if you do not hit your quota, you do not have a job, I'd had enough. I started to question the fear tactics that were used to help me protect my job, when in reality, it was a dead end anyways. It was like they were hoping to intimidate me by threatening me with my job. It was at that moment when I decided to give my 2 weeks notice and start to take control of my life with my own hands. I told myself, there's no one that's gonna believe in me more than I believe in myself. No longer will I depend on others to get me where I want to be. It's my responsibility to get where I want to go by doing the things that I know I need to do. If you have these feelings that something isn't right, or maybe I made a wrong decision and I'm afraid I need to course correct, I need to face failure head on and decide, do I want to take this loss in front of everyone and come out the other side a stronger person, or do I want to just be who I've always been, do what I've always done, and get the same results that I've always gotten? The choice is yours.